Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Tim Swain. Listen, I know it's been a minute, but this one is worth the wait. I am speaking with a world traveler, speaks about 13 languages. Today, you're going to hear two of them, building real estate development in Ghana. And you know what she's known by here in Ghana? Miss Chocolate Wonder. I'm sitting down talking with Miss Leslie Jones.
Wow, that was an introduction that I've never received before. Thank you, Tim Swain.
Miss Chocolate Wonder.
How are you? Thank you for allowing this time in your space. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, we tried to get this thing popping in person, but we had some technical difficulties, but it's all good because sometimes, you know, things work out for a reason, or at least that's what we say when we don't have nothing else to say. So that's what I'm gonna stick with. That's what I'm gonna stick with. But thank you so much for being with me today. Your story is so amazing. We've been having several conversations off camera. I can't wait for the folks to hear this, but let's just start off. We're not going to start off with your name and all the other kind of stuff. I want to jump straight in today. Tell us, you are in Ghana and you're doing some real estate development. Talk to me. Let's jump straight into what brought you to Ghana and those actual developments that you're working on.
What brought me to Ghana? Actually, China brought me to Ghana. After experiencing, I was treated wonderfully, almost like a mini celebrity just for having melanin. And I said, oh my gosh, what is going on here? So that opened my mind to international business because I haven't been treated like that in the States. So I said, what other country can I go to? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to somewhere that people look like me. And I know my lineage is from West Africa, and I did my African ancestry, Sierra Leone, Mende tribe. And so I'm the first person to go to Africa in my family since the transatlantic slave trade, which is 400 years ago. I'm the first one. So
the first one.
The first one. So Africa wasn't even on our radar. You know, because so not all Black folks are struggling here. You know what I mean? I know people don't want to hear that, but some of us are happy. But when I learned about the systematic oppression, that's when I was like, oh no, I don't want to contribute here. So I linked up with my friend. He's the only African person that lived on the continent I knew was a screen director and writer. Debo Johnson. I started his short film. So I said, who do you know that can give me advice when it comes to real estate and the entertainment industry in Africa? And he referred me to his now fiance, Zusi. And Zusi said, hands down, Ghana is the #1 place for real estate and for entertainment, Nigeria. So I decided to go the real estate route, research, confirm what she said, and out November 2020, when the borders opened, I was in Ghana looking for land.
Wow, that's an incredible story. And I want to talk more about the actual developments that you're working on, but it's always good to get a little bit of a background on our guests. So I just wanted to jump straight into the meat, or if you're a vegan, jump straight into the non-meat, the jackfruit.
The jackfruit.
I tried jackfruit once. It jacked me up. Won't
Seriously?
do that again. Yeah, I won't do that again. I was like, this ain't really what it's supposed to be.
They didn't cook it right.
So let's jump straight into the potatoes, as we say, if you're a vegan. So you came to Ghana 2020. Let's back up. So you are just living in the States, as you said, Black folk living happy. Where are you from? What were you doing? And where did the interest come from to say, you know what, I know you talked about China being the gateway to Ghana, but prior to this, was there an interest in exploring a different part of your, exploring your lineage, exploring your roots, or coming back to Africa? So talk us through a little bit of the background that actually got you to the place of being where you are in terms of developing real estate here in Ghana.
Okay. Well, I have a corporation called visiontoreality.com. And I knew real estate was going to be a leg of that business, but I never thought internationally. I thought, get a duplex, triplex, and rent it out. So I was an educational recruiter for a college and they went bankrupt and they closed down. So July 2016, I was laid off. Happiest day, happiest day. And ever since that time, I said, you know what, God, I'll do whatever you want. Just don't give me a regular job. And so that triggered me acting and modeling. And so from acting and modeling, within 10 months, I was like traveling around the world, on TV. I'm like, what the heck is happening? Like, I was just a recruiter. All of a sudden I'm in London doing London Fashion Week. Like, it just didn't make any sense. So I was like, let me follow this path. And eventually, it wasn't to the point where I could live fully on acting and modeling. So I said, you know what? And that's when I was introduced to China. And so I was like, I have debt stacking up. So let me go ahead and go to China and make this money real quick. Honestly, Tim, it was never part of my plans. I didn't even look into my lineage to go to Africa. Africa wasn't part of my vision at all. And literally until I went to China and saw how differently I was treated in a different country. So prior to China, Africa wasn't even on my radar, to be honest. It was all developing in the States.
Wow. So it took international travel to open your eyes to like maybe some of the global business opportunities.
Right.
And even it's, from what I heard you say, it sparked the interest in your own cultural identity. So you are now here in Ghana. Walk us through the process. You don't have to give us all the sauce, but walk us through the process. You got here. Did you immediately start developing land? I mean, did you hit the ground running? What was it like? Because there's a lot of people watching right now that have the same aspirations of you, and they want to just follow in your footsteps, but they need the real. We're going to talk about some of the real later, but just walk us through that process when you first got here. How did some of those initial steps work out?
So I went on a YouTube craze and I followed every Ghanaian YouTuber that talked about real estate. And from that, I would message the person that they were interviewing. I would message them directly. And a couple of them responded. And the ones that did respond, I set up appointments with them to go visit their land once I landed in Ghana. Now, my first trip, tough. So I had an agent, right? And you know how you talk to more people, you get more advice. And people are saying, you know what, Leslie, you should buy land and then develop because it's more affordable that way. I was like, oh, okay, clueless, right? Well, I'm like, it's cheaper. That's the route. And so I told my agent, okay, can we just look for land? Because she was setting me up with properties, already developed. So you just move in and, rent it out. But once I mentioned land, she dropped me like a hot potato. She said, I don't deal with land. Like, it's too many litigation issues. I'm like, what? And so from that point on, I was by myself. So I did I think it's called Madasa. It's like if you want to rent, if you want to buy land, if you want to
Mikasa.
Mikasa, yes. That was how I started. YouTube and Mikasa. And Mikasa, that's a story. But initially, I set up the people that I knew. I was like, can you show me that Zusi, the one that recommended me to Ghana, linked me up with a project manager. And so that's how my initial steps were getting to Ghana, looking at land, start learning about the development process. And I looked at some properties, and thank goodness my first trip to Ghana, I met my land consultant. Without him, I don't think I would have accomplished anything because he said, when you buy land, do a survey and a lands commission search before you give any money. And I said, okay. And so the lands that I did look at when I first came to Ghana, I did searches and I did surveys and names weren't matching. Names weren't matching up. People trying to sell me land, but their name's not in the lands commission database. So that's how I avoided most of the fraudulent practices, all the litigation issues when it comes to land. So that was my initial visit.
Oh, thank you. I want to mention something here for people watching. You had a vision. It's right, Vision to Reality, right? That's the name of your
Vision
company.
to Reality, Inc. Mm-hmm.
Vision to Reality, although your African identity wasn't a part of that. That's okay. That came in later. That's okay. It came in later, right? But
Hey, some of us
so
are
it takes a
coons and
little
didn't even
time.
know.
It takes a
Coons
little
and didn't
time.
know.
That's all right. But the thing that's important to mention for people watching this right now is you had a vision. You didn't just act blindly on the vision, but you contacted individuals who had experience doing what you wanted to do.
Right.
The second thing is you gathered the information from people who were doing it or exposing people who did it, like the YouTubers, giving exposure to the real estate agents. And then you did your due diligence.
Right.
So you did all of those things. And I'm saying this because so many people watching this, I know y'all watching this, and they want to jump in and believe that the system of real estate development or real estate buying and selling is the same thing as the state. So I want to jump into that for a second. Tell me, had you had experience in real estate development or real estate, being a real estate agent on any aspect before coming to Ghana?
I had my real estate license in California. That's
Okay.
as much experience as I got is passing the test. But
Wow.
my uncle is a mortgage broker, so I had him. When I was looking for my first house and I was going to purchase my first property, which didn't happen, but I have my whole family. Like we're like a one-stop shop. My auntie's a broker, and then my uncle's a mortgage broker, so they already have like a hub. So I would see what they do. I
Yeah.
even went with my auntie. I went with her on some of her appointments. I saw her open the door, get the key, all that jazz. So personally, I had my license, but prior to that, I had no real estate experience.
Tell us about some of the shocks, the cultural shocks that made you say,
Ooh.
"Ooh, this may be a little bit tougher than I anticipated."
Well, the first time I went, "Ooh, you want to get real? Okay,
No,
I'm gonna
I
bring
want to
the
get
real."
real. I want to get real.
Okay. The first time I came to Ghana, I said, "I'm never coming back." That's how culturally shocked I was, because I had a tour guide, which I found out that not a legitimate tour guide through the Ministry of Tourism. So that's step number one. Okay, so I get to Ghana and I'm thinking I'm with a legitimate tour guide, and I'm not. But he shows me the indigenous life. So I'm thinking when I get to Ghana, I'm seeing what Amaya, Vanessa Camby, what all they're posting. And I get here, I'm just like, what is this? What is it? What is a trotro? I'm thinking I'm getting on a bus, in the States, and a trotro is just a minivan. And you just gotta wait until everyone just piles in. And then you have to take a 3-4 hour drive, which it should be hour and a half, but the roads are so bad, it triples the time to get to places. And then I had another, I almost got my camera stolen. It was just a lot of stuff I've never experienced in the States. I experienced all of a sudden one time in my first trip to Ghana. And
Now, did you come by yourself?
I did. It was
Okay.
just me, and then the tour guide. So he gave me VIP treatment, not knowing that he was just trying to make moves the whole time.
But this is interesting because when I hear your story, the first thing I think about is Ghana is a great place to have a bad experience. Here's why: because Ghana is relatively safe. Now, I think about some other countries if it had been in a different way. I mean, granted, the whole of Ghana is not, free of accidents, free of violence and crime, but Ghana is a relatively safe place. And I think about, it makes me also think about why we have to be cautious and investigating, the people on the other end of the on the phone, right? Because think about if it had went another way. Right. You're in a trotro, you don't know where you're going. And anyway, we're not going to scare people. So anyway, so you almost didn't come back. What made you come back?
So the first time I left, I was thinking, wait, it's going to be expensive. Because the reason I chose international investing is to take advantage of the exchange rate. And when I came to Ghana and realized that it's almost the same cost to do like a regular traditional, if you want to live like an American or in the UK, in Ghana, it's the same amount of money, maybe even more, because now you're trying to bring other exports in, And I said, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought. I don't have money for this. I have to raise a whole bunch of money to do what I'm trying to do. And so, I went back discouraged, and this is what triggered it. I came back to Ghana. I just laid in my bed like, I had a vision. I know it's supposed to be there, And then I came out of my slump, and my auntie and my uncle, they're watching prefabricated housing on YouTube. And I said, that I can do. If traditionally building, it's a lot of money. I might as well stay in the States if I'm going to do a traditional build. But if I do prefabricated, that will make it more easy to pitch because I have to raise money because I'm not rich. I Uber drive. That's how I'm doing what I'm doing. So I said, if I have to pitch for capital, prefabricated housing will make it more affordable to make it more appealing because I'm already doing something out the box. I'm already going to a different country, and I'm most likely going to get my investors from the States. So I'm like, let's streamline the cost of this and include prefabricated housing in my plans. Yeah.
Wow. So you were laying in the bed and just kind of discouraged about your vision. Mm-hmm. And then from whatever reason, you saw prefabricated housing. And, this is a very inspiring story because it takes a very special person to have a vision, to have your vision get kicked like by a professional football player, like kicking it for like this goal is on the line for the country.
Right.
And that can happen, especially when you come to Ghana, but then come back with a resolve of like, I'm going to make this happen. Tell us about the actual development that you're working on. Houses, detached, is it apartments? Mm-hmm. When can it be ready? How can folks know more about it? Okay. Can they purchase it? Yeah, give us the 411 about it.
So I'm at the beginning stages. So I do have my indenture, so that's done. But I'm starting the deed process. So I have the land. I started the landscaping, but like I said earlier, I have to raise capital to do the actual building. So it's going to be a 4-unit, semi-detached townhome complex on the beachfront property in Central Region. So it's going to be 4 bedroom, 3.5 bath, 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath. And it's 4 units. So it's going to be the bomb. Like I already have, so I went to school for drafting and design technology. So I designed the concept, and then I partnered with a Ghanaian architectural firm. They just took my vision to a whole different level. So you can't buy it yet because it's not manifested. I'm at the vision stage, but eventually it will come into reality. But once I get my deed, that's when I'll start pitching and then sharing the layouts, sharing the design, sharing the 3D rendering. And then, the word will go out from there.
What's your timeline?
So once I raise the funds, it's going to be up in 6 to 8 months.
Now, your desire is to sell the units or to own the units and rent them out. What's your desire?
So the first project is going to be short-term lease, almost like an Airbnb. It's going to be a boutique resort. And so I won't be selling them, but people can come and get away. Because where I am, Central Region, it's like in the middle, almost of nowhere. Where some people don't, when I say the city, they're like, where is that?
So the Central Region, what are some of the other places that are near the Central Region where folks may recognize?
Okay, so I'm 30 minutes before you get to Cape Coast. So the, what is it? The Elmina Castle. I'm 30 minutes before Elmina Castle. That's the main thing. Yeah, Salt Pond's the main city. Yeah, Elmina Castle, that's the closest. So if you're going on vacation, if you're going touring Ghana, you would drive by me before you get to the Elmina Castle.
From Accra?
Yes, from Accra, yes.